What's going on, guys? And welcome to episode 15 of the Listen Whilst You Step podcast. Today we have Gran on. No, I'm only joking. We have Lucy O'Sullivan. Me and Johnny, obviously you've all met Johnny before. We called this very special lady Gran for way too many years. I don't know if she loved it or hated it or loved us to hate it. But I'm not going to do too much of an introduction. Lucy, why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and kind of how you got into the fitness industry, your kind of sporting kind of journey.
Well, you know, as Simon's already said, that I am Simon and Johnny's granny. They used to take the mick out of me when I coached them at the Jersey Sport Foundation and the rugby club when you were wee bairns in the academy. And it once slipped that I did knitting and I had a cat, so that's how I became your gran. But anyway, I'm actually a strength and conditioning coach here in Jersey. I've been in the industry since I finished my master's in 2012, came back to Jersey and was really lucky and fortunate to kind of go under the wing of John Scriven at the Jersey Sport Foundation, and I was an assistant coach, I guess, there. And then I was an assistant coach at the rugby club. And then throughout the years, I was the head coach for the academy at the rugby club. And now I actually run my own PT business, Strength by Lucy.
Love that. Well, before we kind of get into things, I want to say a massive thank you, and I'll speak on Johnny's behalf as well. Like, I know me and him wouldn't be doing what we're doing or coaching and helping lots of people if it wasn't for likes of you and John and different people like that. And I think John's been mentioned in nearly every episode on this. So I didn't need to get him on. I saw him the other day and he said we're going to get on. How long ago was it that we were, when did we first kind of meet at One Foundation?
So yeah, it would have been 2012 was when I came back from Nottingham. So I trained at Nottingham Trent University and I coached some GB people over there. And I was under Tim Stevenson, who is School of Calisthenics. Came back over here, and I was just an assistant coach, and I met you. And I think, how old were you in 2012? Were you like 14?
Oh my God, what's that? 8 years ago. Yeah, it would have been like 15, 16, 15, yeah, something like that.
Oh, so yeah, so
that's
long.
Crazy.
So I'm showing my age now. It's crazy because I finished uni. I was like 21, 22, and I was like, I know everything. And now I'm 30, and I'm like, I know nothing. There's so much to learn. We
were literally just speaking about this before we kind of hit record and things, and it was saying how the more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything. And right. I think we've spoken about this, like me and Johnny did the first episode on kind of our biggest mistakes, and it was thinking you know everything.
You know nothing.
No, and you never will. That's the problem, because
no one knows everything. But the trouble is that my degree was like 10 years ago now. Science has moved on so much in 2 years, let alone 10 years. So the trouble is that like we know nothing in the sports industry because everything's always changing. So yeah, it's a really interesting sort of concept, like when you just kind of dip into the pool. We were saying, like, you dip into the pool of knowledge and you think, oh, I know everything about the bicep curl or something, and then you're just like, no, there's so much more that could be like learnt.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things, I can't remember, I was listening to an audio book and it was a strength conditioning one. It was basically saying how one of the GB cyclists, one of the S&C coaches, they were just drilling them, and they were like getting their legs crazy strong, and they were like, your time should be so much quicker because your legs are so much stronger, blah blah blah. And it turned out that they weren't taking a step back, looking at the bigger picture in terms of their arms weren't actually strong enough to resist like the opposite forces,
right?
And it's taking that step back and being able to look at the bigger picture and constantly evaluating and adapting as we go,
which is nice, actually, which is why I think having like junior coaches coming in, so when I started coaching under John and Pete and everyone, I was probably throwing out information that I just recently learned, and they're probably like, oh yeah, we haven't thought about that, and it's kind of, as you said, it like gives you that step back to and it's when, even when I was coaching you at the rugby, but you guys knew enough, you knew enough about your own training, your own diets, everything. You were trying different things. I remember you were like, oh, I'm trying this fasting thing, or whatever it was. it's actually good to get feedback from the athletes and stuff themselves, because actually sometimes they know more about their body than you do. So
that's the thing. It's constantly listening, evaluating, adapting, and not perfection doesn't exist. Everyone, we can chase it and we can try our best to get there, but it doesn't exist. So where did this kind of pursuit of strength conditioning, high level sport, just like a fitness journey, where did it all start?
So I am a very competitive person.
Really?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I actually did a test with the Jersey sports psychologist over here, and my competitive scale was like 10 out of 10.
Love
and
that.
he was like, "Oh, you're a very competitive person." I was like, "Yeah, I know." So I've always kind of strived for greatness. I've always strived to be bigger and better than I could be. I think maybe it's a small person syndrome as well, that I'm always trying to be bigger than I am. I'm very short, by the way, people listening. So yeah, I started, my dad used to do archery over here at De La Salle. So, and this was, we're talking like 70 years ago. And basically I just went into the archery route because that's what he did. Turns out I have a gift for it. I'm really, really lucky. And within a year, I'd got on the GB team.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was 14. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So like 14 years old, had to go to England, was on the GB team, and then it hasn't stopped since then. Well, it stopped because of COVID, and that's the first time it's stopped. Oh. But yeah, so I've been on the GB team for 16 years now. So, I don't know, something crazy. I don't know. I can't do maths.
That's insane. So it's all you really ever known is competing at that high level.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So basically, because I compete at such a high level, it came to A levels, and I was like, well, what do I do? So I was like, well, I guess I do sports now, because I do archery. I guess I'm a sport person. I'll do sports, I'll do psychology, and I'll do biology, and then I'll go to uni and I'll do sports. I actually really luckily didn't get into my first choice uni. So I really tried to get into Bath, because I thought Bath will be, it's incredible for sports and everything. But I actually got into Nottingham Trent, and it was amazing for me because I got a full scholarship.
Oh,
so
thank you very much.
It was amazing, because at Bath doing archery, I would have been a nobody. Whereas at Nottingham doing archery, they were like, you're on the GB team. Like, this is incredible. We don't have many GB athletes. Here's some money to compete. So it was the best move. And actually, the course that was at Nottingham Trent was coaching and sports science. So that's kind of led me into the coaching route. I was thinking about doing psychology, like after my dissertation and stuff. And if you want to be a sports psychologist, you have to do a psychology degree and then go into sports. You can't do sport and then go into psych. So yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, what are my other strengths? I'm really good at the physiology stuff. And actually it was Sport 981, some of the strength and conditioning coaches at Nottingham Trent, that said, Lucy, you're good enough. You should be a coach here with us. Train some of the other athletes that are on GB team and stuff, and the other stars athletes. And it's kind of, I've just been coaching ever since, which is perfect because I haven't wasted my degree.
like most people do.
Yeah, I've got some friends that did, really unique degrees and then just went into finance. So I was like, I'm not going to waste my degree.
I'm going to do something with it.
I will do something with it.
It's interesting you mentioned something about the kind of psychological side of it. I've been doing some mindset coaching with a guy named Kieran. He's a high performance mindset specialist. Be interesting. Where do you think your drive comes from? It's a hard question.
I don't know. I think it's anyway. Like, do you ever play board games? Family dues and stuff, and you just want to win. Yeah. So I'm just naturally just want to win at silly board games. But then you put that into an actual focused thing like a sport, and it just goes mad. Like, I don't know. I was very competitive, and my dad, actually, he was my coach. And he'd always joke, like if I didn't win a competition, he'd always joke and be like, well, that's it, you're not going to get dinner tonight. But I was always a bit like, oh, is he joking?
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's joking. So I think it really like made me super competitive, because I was like, okay, I've got to be the best.
Yeah, it was a little bit nature and nurture.
A little, yeah. I'm going to say it's both.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's cool. It's cool. Super interesting as you start to kind of deep dive a little bit and kind of like I see myself, I'm super competitive. I'm always like, what's next? Like massive growth mindset. But
Yeah.
I always question myself, where does that drive come from? And it's a hard thing to think about.
But I think with you especially, because you were originally an individual sport.
An athlete, yeah, as well.
But individual sport people, I think we tend to be a little bit more competitive because it's all on you. Whereas in a team, it's on everyone and you have to work together. Whereas individually, you really have to, like, if you're not the best, you're not going to win. So it's all on you. And you started as a tennis player.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could have been what made you like so good as a rugby player, because you had that mindset to win from an individual sport.
Yeah.
But I'm just hypothesizing here. So
it's super interesting when you start deep diving on stuff like that. I love it. The more and more I get into like the mindset stuff, it absolutely fascinates me. I love learning how people tick. I think that's one of the most important things. How's it been trying to excel in a sport in Jersey?
Oh, so I mean,
we've opened up a can of worms there.
Do you know, Jersey's always been very supportive of me. And I'm going to say it's because, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, but I'm going to say it's because I'm a big fish in a small pond. As soon as you go to the UK, you are a tiny, tiny prawn in a massive ocean. So even at university, I was really lucky that Nottingham Trent was quite a small uni. Had I gone to Bath, I wouldn't have been known for sports. Whereas in Nottingham, pretty much like all the lecturers knew that I was a GB athlete, and they gave me a little bit of compensation for, if I was late for handing in work or anything like that, they knew. But if you're in a bigger university or, a big city, I wouldn't have had that compensation. Now with Jersey, I feel like it's a little bit the same because it's a smaller place. My name can get out there a bit easier. So I'm more likely to have sponsors over here, especially, archery is not a popular sport. So I think, for me, it was the right move to come back to Jersey, to my home, live with my parents, so that, because that's the only way athletes can really live at the moment, is living with parents. Because all your money, all your income has to go for travel. So it was a bit of a toss up between, do I live in the UK, have less exposure to like media, to like actually getting my sport out there, but cheaper travel, or do I live over here and I have more exposure, I have more support, I have a home for free essentially, but then I have to travel. So yeah, it's really hard. Like I know Zane Dukeman, he moved to the UK. I think he moved to Loughborough actually. He was a shot putter, and now is he discus? I can't remember, but I mean he moved to Loughborough. But it's really, athletics is really popular over there, so I think it's a bit easier. But yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Do you think if you hadn't gone to Nottingham, you'd be in the position that you are now with GB and everything like that?
Yeah.
I like that. There's the confidence.
I think I wouldn't have ever quit. Like I think once you
get that dream in your head.
Yeah, I mean, I came third in the world when I was 16, and I've been chasing that again ever since. So I think until I come like first, I'm never gonna quit.
Not going to be satisfied.
Yeah, it's just that thing. That's why I keep going. So, and there are loads of like 18-year-olds coming up and they're doing really, really well. And I'm like, I still want to be number one, guys. Just I'm going to keep going until I get it. So I think, had I even not gone to uni and gone into something completely different, I was looking at doing media for a bit. The trouble is with the media job, you need to be like there 24/7 for the news. And I was like, I can't do that because I've got archery. I need to be away at weekends. So I think I always would have chosen this path.
Yeah, I love that. As a kid, did you find it hard potentially maybe not having as much time with family, friends, things like that, or were you just so obsessed and loved archery that?
No, I mean, I am obsessed and I do love archery, but I have a massive case of FOMO, like a lot. I mean, I have a really good friend. We've been friends for 20 years now, since primary school. And yeah, she basically said that I'm her winter friend because during the summer she wouldn't see me. She was like, "Oh, bye, nice to know you." And then I come back in the winter like, "Hey, what have I missed?" And she's like, "Everything." You've
Shit.
missed all of my birthdays. You've missed all of the summer stuff. Yeah, so because my schedule is 23 weekends I compete usually, or 20 weekends that I go away. So I mean, out of 52 weeks, it's it's a lot.
You got a few air miles under your belt.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. Here's an interesting one. If you were to go back and do the whole archery thing again, what would you do differently? Is there anything?
So we were chatting about this off screen before, and I know you were saying, and this is a real Scriven sort of saying, that be an athlete first and then specialize. I think if I was to start again, so let's just say I'm a 13, 14-year-old kid, I think what I would do is try and do athletics as well, or gymnastics and archery, because then I would become my strength would have been built up through gymnastics, my lung capacity would have been built up through athletics, and then that would have made me a better archer. Whereas I always just focused on archery. And then at 20, when I went to uni, I realized that, running is good for you. So then I had to try and become a runner to help me. But had I just done that when I was a kid, it would have been much, much easier.
I think it's interesting. I think a lot more people are getting into the gym earlier.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but are they getting into strength? I think there's two. There's gym and there's strength and conditioning.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why I branded myself Strength by Lucy, because I was like, I look after, it's my sort of subtitle is like strength in mind, strength in body.
Love that. That's cool. Oh, you've broken up.
I do believe so. It's quite you have to be strong in mind, but strength in body. There's so many people that will go into the gym and then just go on the treadmill, and I'm like, I don't want people paying for that. I want people paying to get strong, which is why I rebranded to Strength by Lucy, because I was like, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get strength.
Yeah.
And then, but physical fitness comes from that, lung capacity comes from that. Yeah. Good habits come from that. So
same as me, aesthetic strength. Look good, feel good, perform good.
Exactly.
I think if you can look after all of those things, you'll be on the way to getting to very, very close to where you want to be, for sure.
Exactly.
I love that. So obviously all of this has opened up a lot of opportunities in terms of building your own business. How have you found that journey?
Yeah, I think this has been harder than the actual archery. I mean, yeah, which is bizarre, because I remember, as a kid, it was so helpful with my parents. They just kind of said, well, she seems to be good at this, we'll just put her name forward to GB team. And then I got on. And then it's kind of, I've been guided by coaches and stuff ever since. Whereas in the fitness world, it's quite, what I've been trying to do since COVID is trying to get everyone together. So to create an association so that we can all help each other and, potentially guide new people. And I've actually been working with the Professional Fitness Academy. I train people to become personal trainers, mainly because of my degree. I'm like, I might as well help the future. Yeah. I think when I started, it was quite hard, because you sort of had, you have all the people like Wayne Stewart and stuff, and they're the absolute, he's like the godfather over here. He does he's bodybuilding and stuff, and basically over here it was just kind of bodybuilders, or the strength and conditioning guys. So, and then there were a couple of PTs that I knew about, but it wasn't anyone I could really talk to and be like, help, how do I do this? How do I run a business?
It's definitely running, there's different, I think there's a difference between going and working and just working in a commercial gym and like your Fitness First, where they are going to a certain degree feed you clients, whereas you are literally just, you are Strength by Lucy. It's up to you whether there's a pressure behind it, because if you don't perform, you don't get clients results, you don't execute in sessions. Hey, guess what? Don't put food on the table. You don't put a roof over your head.
Yeah, you can't pay the mortgage. Yeah. I mean, I was very, very lucky because I actually got a job at Rad Fitness, who were at the Radisson, but it was an employee position. Mm-hmm. So lucky I was, because I go away so much, I knew that I couldn't go into media because I go away so much. Strength and conditioning, it's very, there weren't many hours at the time. I was doing the rugby club, I was doing the Jersey Sport Foundation, and then I was like, I still have no money. So I went into, I needed PT to PT basically. And I was really lucky to get an employee position because I get holiday days. So, and for me, that was like the main thing I needed. I was like, I go away so much, I need holiday pay. And I was just so fortunate. I worked there for 6 years. Their lease has just run up actually, but damn it. So I'm all alone now. No, it's so it's good. Like now I've got a client base, I can just be by myself. But yeah, at the time I was, with COVID, I'm not competing, but at the time I was away so much that I was like, I need holiday pay. I need someone to just sort out my social, to, do all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was just so fortunate to land in the role. And it was literally my friend who was like, hey, do you know any PTs? And I was like, yeah, I'm a PT, give me a job. So yeah, I was just so lucky that I landed on it. But it took about 2 years to build up clients. Oh, yeah. But I was really lucky that some of the physios over here, and like some really, really good physios, like Lisa Mann, they kind of cottoned on that I do corrective exercise. So, I mean, I'm not really a PT, I'm a corrective exercise coach, performance enhancement, which is the athletes, and then I do the strength and conditioning stuff. Yeah. And yeah, Lisa and a couple of other physios over here, they realized that I do corrective exercise, and they were like, look, we have people that have weak glutes, bad knees, fix them. So I was just really, really lucky, but it did take about 2 years for people to kind of know what I was doing.
Yeah, it just can't, it doesn't, people get impatient. It's like, I can't remember the statistic, like most businesses like end up failing within their first 2 years. It's
1 year. Yeah.
It's like, your first year is like 60% It's just because people, you ever seen that meme with the guy that pickaxe and he's nearly at the diamonds and they give up? That's literally most people with businesses. They just don't tick their boxes for long enough. It's interesting what you say. That kind of comes back to everyone working together. I think even more so in Jersey, it's big in the fitness industry anyway, but everyone thinks there's not enough clients to go around. Everyone works against each other. Everyone's like, you piss off, this is my gym, what the fuck you doing here? I'm like, if you just work together and you collaborate, you can help so many more people. Yeah, it's incredible. It really does.
But this is why, I've always, kept in contact with, Jersey Sport Foundation, John and stuff, because, he was like he was the best coach that trained me, so I always say like, oh, this is a John Scriven special. There's like Nick Dingle taught me loads because I worked with him at the rugby club as well. Jake Alliker, there's you, like even learning from you, like, I'm like, hey, Gran needs some help online. How do you do the online stuff? It's, why work against people when you can work with them and learn from, I learn from you guys because you know so much more about tech than I do. I learned from Wayne Stewart about bodybuilding because I'm not a bodybuilder, so I was like, hey, Wayne, how do you bodybuild? Teach me. So, I've learned from him. The calisthenics guys at Nottingham Trent, I learned from them how to, they were really good teachers as well. You've got to learn from everyone. And I think if people worked in the industry together,
everyone succeeds.
Everyone wins.
Yeah.
But I think the trouble is that maybe over here, like construction, okay, yeah, they're all against each other, but they have an alliance that when COVID struck, they were together and they were like, do not shut us down. Whereas in the fitness industry, because we're all a little bit scattered, we needed an alliance for the government to actually recognize the industry.
Yeah, completely.
So I mean, that's kind of like I want the government to be like, fitness industry, let's go to all of them, rather than, oh, maybe we should talk to that guy, and maybe this person knows something, and maybe that person knows something. And
almost
so,
like a Jersey fitness governing body kind of thing.
Yeah, which is kind of what we've all done.
Stuff.
We created like a little Facebook group, and we can all chat in it and stuff, which is pretty cool. So, if there are new PTs, and I'm thinking, for the Professional Fitness Academy as well, when those PTs get enrolled and finish their course, they should just sign up and, I mean, not even sign up, they should just join.
Be really cool if they could almost be assigned like a mentor, where there's somewhere they can reach out and ask questions to.
And as I was saying before, like, a fresh pair of eyes helps you as a coach.
Massively.
Because they'll ask you questions that you wouldn't have thought about for, 6 years or something. And you're like, oh yeah, that exercise. I forgot about that one.
Pull-ups?
And
pull-ups? What are pull-ups?
Yeah. What is a pull-up?
Lat pull downs, bro.
So yeah, like, yeah, I think it's all like, especially coaching for the for the Professional Fitness Academy, some of the guys on it, they like ask really cool questions, and I'm like, do you know what? I'm not sure, but let me get back to you tomorrow about that. Like, I'm gonna check. And it just kind of, it gets your learning going.
Yeah, just challenges in a different way.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of coaches who listen to this, or people who are aspiring to be coaches. What would your one piece of advice be for someone who's looking to get into the fitness industry?
Me personally, I would do it through education. So I mean, there are so many courses out there that are like 6 weeks or 6 days or online or whatever, but I think I was just really lucky that I did it through a degree, and actually that kind of put me
places you
ahead a little bit quicker.
100%.
So because then as soon as physio caught onto that and was like, oh, you do corrective exercise, it was much easier for me. Whereas if you're all the same level, you're all like, oh, I've done a 6-week course, you're all the same level, so you'd really have to educate yourself in something to it's the unique selling point, isn't it? You need a unique selling point. So I would say educate yourself in a specialized area, or, like if you do a particular sport like swimming or something, you'd be like, look, I help swimmers because I've done swimming. This is my unique selling point, and I'm a PT. I've done my course. So, yeah. For
sure. Do you know my top tip?
What's yours?
Give a shit.
Like, actually care about people.
Yeah.
It's also true.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? But oh my god, it does my head.
You know what? I didn't think about that. That's so true.
I'm going back before the education. Just give a shit about people.
You know what? Fair enough. Like, actually, I'm going to steal that, Simon. Simon taught me that actually giving a shit is actually more important.
It's so simple, but like a lot of it follows on from that. If you give a shit about your clients, you're not going to feed them shit knowledge.
Yeah.
If you give a shit about your clients, you're not going to brush them off. If you give a shit about your clients, you're not going to feed them 800 calories and just not give a shit.
Yeah. So true. You're so right.
Being a good human being goes a long way. I hate to break it to people.
Yeah. And so during this time, I thought gyms would be open by now, and they weren't. So I was like, do you know what, everyone, it's half price at the moment. So, you're right. I really do give a shit about the people I coach. Yeah. So I was like, I just felt so bad that I can't see them in person, that I was like, it's just half price, until we're open again. Let's just get you in front of, your screen doing some stuff with me. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I don't know if people who know me, but I don't particularly want children. That's just my lifestyle choice. Mainly because I still want to be number 1 in the world for archery. But
when you get that, you're coming back on this podcast.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, maybe I'll have it now. Yeah. Basically,
too big time now.
Clients, even if they're like 50, 60, 70, I've had some like 80-year-olds that I've coached before, and I'm like, you're my child. Like, they are my children. So I worry about people all the time as if they were my kids.
Yeah. Because you give a shit.
You the same?
Yeah. Oh, look, well, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So like, even if I've had a couple of clients, like you'll have the same people who pay up front for something or blah, 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 and then don't quite stick to it. And you're like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, I know. You're like, just want to shake him, like, you've got this.
It's because you've got a shit. You give a
And this
shit.
must be
Whereas,
what parents feel like.
yeah, I'm a long way off that. So we'll see I'm a long, long way off that. Yeah. I just want to touch on one last thing. Obviously, you went on your own kind of like serious weight loss transformation at some point, didn't you?
Yes, yeah, I did. Yeah,
Can you just touch
I
on that a
forget
little
about
bit?
that.
It was a while ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, so so I was, before I went to university, I was a size 8. I was Miss Jersey. I was fit, healthy, I was on the GB team, and I didn't even have to think about food. I think my dinner was generally most nights Cocoa Pops, and I would stay slim, and it was all fine. Went to university and I drank a lot because I lived with rugby players and they drank a lot. And I'm 5'1" and I was trying to keep up with them. And I put on a lot of weight. So I went from a size 8 to a size, I don't want to say it, but I was like pushing a 14, size 14. Like any girls who know that, for a short person, that's quite big. Although I refused to buy any 14 clothes, I was a 12. But yeah, I came back here and it was actually John that I was training all you guys, and I was like, yeah, I'm a strength coach, I'm really strong. I mean, I was deadlifting 120. When you're bigger, you can deadlift really, really heavy, but I didn't feel good. I was going to archery competitions and people were like, oh, you've put on weight. And I was like, yeah, okay, thank you.
Brilliant.
Thanks for that, good. But yeah, I think it was something John said once and I don't know who we were coaching someone and they were kind of chatting about food or something, and then I was like, yeah, I should probably sort my shit out now. And John was like, yeah, you should go for it. Like, and then like the next day, that was it. I was just like, okay, right, I've got 3 weeks. Oh, that was it. I had 3 weeks until BBC Sports Personality of the Year, and that was up in Scotland. So because we came second in the European Championships, the 3 archery girls, including myself, we were invited to go. So this was the national thing. I knew I was going to be on national TV, and I was like, okay, I need to sort this out. And then I lost weight. And it was just like that. I was like, I need to do it. So I did it. But it took so long for my brain to be like, do it. And this is the frustrating thing when I look at clients and I'm like, guys, I've been there. I was gonna say I was depressed. Like, I had lost my father, who is my coach as well. So I was comfort eating, I was drinking at uni, all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, right, okay, it's time, sort yourself out, you've got a goal, go for it. And yeah, I got back down to like a size 10 within three weeks or something like that, literally by food. It was get rid of the sugar, get rid of the alcohol, get rid of the coffee, get rid of everything nice. And for me, I had to just reset, and it was meat and veg, and it was literally only meat and veg, and my body just reset. And yeah, I've managed to keep the weight off since, because now it's not like a diet I have to do. It's more like just keep the healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, it's amazing how. Sorry.
But you kind of went through something similar like a little while ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
You said something like you felt a bit podgy poo, and
yeah, so it was off the bat. Look, I had some bad injuries, so I was out of rugby for like a good like 7-8 months. Came off the back of a bad breakup and things like that, and
yeah,
just, it's like you comfy, you going out having a few drinks, and all of a sudden I found myself in a position where I wasn't comfortable. And I said it openly and honestly, like when I got my girlfriend Juliet I'm at with at the moment, it's the first time I've ever even been like, shit, I don't want to take my top off.
Right.
And I'd never had that feeling.
And I think that's so nice to hear a guy say that.
Yeah.
Because guys don't usually say that, and it's it's really hard for people to it's really hard for people to voice that. And if people just said, I feel uncomfortable having my top off, then they're probably more likely to do something about it.
Yeah, it's taking I spoke about this with Kieran, the mindset guy, literally yesterday, and we are saying lots of people, they feel these feelings and they push it down and they just fight it. The best thing you can do.
Guess what? You end up eating.
Yeah, well,
cover up those feelings.
It could literally be anything. You can eat, you can not eat. Some people don't eat. Some people,
that's true.
Some people go and buy expensive shit.
Yeah.
Some people go and be a fucking asshole on a night out and start fights. Like everyone's coping mechanism is different. But if you just like acknowledge those feelings, like Kieran says to me, take those feelings out, imagine them in front of you, and go, "Oh, hey mate, funny seeing you again."
Yeah.
And then if it's still there, pick it up, squeeze it into ball, and for me, I kick it off the fucking balcony like a rugby. Okay? But it's unbelievable. But just by letting it come up, acknowledging it,
then you can do something about it.
You keep pushing that down, that shit's just gonna get stronger, and it's gonna come back and eat you up.
Yeah, and I mean, well, it took me quite a long time just to deal with like my dad dying. So as you're saying, like I was pushing it down, but that was showing on my weight. So I was pushing the feelings down, but getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like clearly there was something not right. And and it was John. He was like, is it time? Are you ready now? And I'm like, yeah, do you know what, John? I feel ready. And it was honestly, it was like literally like a light bulb came on, and I didn't even need to think about losing weight. I just lost the weight, and it was amazing. I mean, after the COVID business, I wish I could have that feeling again, but it's all about just being healthy now. And with the whole pandemic going on, people are pretty stressed and turning to alcohol and stuff, and I'd like to sort of say to them, like, please just talk about it. Why are you drinking? Why are you eating? What's going on?
It's literally, it comes back to just like your position when you were there back then, is having that tight inner circle. It's having someone to support you and guide you, but in the nicest possible way, someone to call you fucking shit as well.
Yeah, and I think that's that's the best thing about a PT or a coach or whatever. Like, we're there, like, come on, you've got this. Come on, I'm here for you. Just tell me your shit.
Yeah. And
then we can do it. And that's what you're waiting for, really. And I've seen some people and they get that light bulb moment, and I'm like, you're having it. You've got it. It's coming. You've got it now. And then honestly, within a couple of weeks, they're like fitter, healthier. Then they feel better. Then they do more. Then they feel even better, and it's a positive cycle rather than a negative one.
Results are like compound interest.
Yes.
The more you win, the more you win long term.
Right?
For sure. Massively. Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll wrap it up there, because otherwise I think we'd literally end up talking.
We could talk for hours. I could talk for hours.
Yeah, it's literally our job to chat to people. Literally.
Oh, I'm missing it so much.
I know. No, just on just a little tangent here. It's funny. Everyone asks me, like, what's the hardest part about being a personal trainer, online coach, anything like that? And do you know what it is? In my eyes, it's the people skills. So many people can't, like, if you've got a brand new client, you've never met them in your life, and you've got to be one-on-one with them in a gym, and you can't make that shit feel awkward. Like, you've got to be able to make conversation out of nothing. That's the hard thing. I
know, and I say to like many of my clients would have heard me say this, but I'm like, oh, I've got a newbie now. I'm really nervous. Yeah, and they're like, why are you nervous? And I'm like, I want them to like me. Like, I just get nervous because I'm like, I want them to feel chill with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to be a little, I've had a bit of a mindset switch now. And I literally see it as I'm doing this person a disjustice by not helping them.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a different kind of mindset. Rather than getting that nerve, and there's another one. Did you know that if you want a roller coaster, I'm literally like quoting Kieran right now. I'm literally quoted him for this whole podcast. So if you were on a roller coaster and you took like a blood sample before you got on the fear, and you took it whilst you were on it, like enjoying it, your blood would be exactly the same.
Your blood would, but yeah, okay.
In terms of like your hormone response, pretty much.
Response, right? Yeah.
Hormone response. So in terms of like,
yeah, you're right.
Fear and excitement are actually the same thing. So just thing for me is whenever you're scared, just remember on the other side of that is excitement.
Yeah. Well, I love it, and that's what I'm missing right now. New people.
Connecting with people.
Yeah, it's been difficult, and I find like this stuff is great, but it's, for me, I'm a very sociable person. I need people. So yeah, I found it quite difficult actually during COVID, like not being in physical range with people. Yeah, I like want to move your hips and stuff for the plank, and yeah, and just, this is great, and you can talk to and people in business and stuff, they're doing all their Zoom meetings, but at the same time it's
That's
difficult because there's not actually contact. But
that's why I say hats. So I said I want to like put it out there in the world as well. As hats off to Adam, my business coach, because this whole year, whilst most people have been doing webinars, he went out of his way to make sure that did his mastermind in person this year, and it was one of the most life-changing experiences of my life.
So cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Absolutely incredible.
I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
Is that okay to say?
100%.
I say that about all you guys though, like all you rugby lads and Jersey Sport Foundation people that I see, like Ollie Turner and stuff as well, and I'm like, I feel so proud of all of you guys
as well.
Yeah,
Stu's going to be close to that top 500 in the
he's
world.
doing so well. Like, I know this is crazy, but this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like a parent. Everyone you coach, it's like, yes, I'm proud. Like, you feel their pride when they do well in life, which is cool.
And do you know why? Because you give a shit.
Because I give a shit. I love it. I'm stealing that.
Oh yeah. Well, honestly, guys, thank you very much, and a massive thank you, Lucy. Do you want to just let everybody know your social media so people can go and follow you and things?
Yeah. So my social media is Strength by Lucy.
Boom. Super simple. Guys, thank you very much. Please screenshot this, pop it on your story, tag both me and Lucy, and I will see you next week in episode 16. Keep crushing it and have a good one, everyone.